But it looks like we're missing one on team one, but we got ourselves team two with full members. We got ourselves Putz playing that marksman. We got ourselves Insane Dolls on, I wanted to say Arcane Mage for some reason. Looked like Arcane, but he's fire. Divas as an enhancement. We got ourselves Unstoppable. Unstoppable. Yo, can I call him Unstoppable and just... No, it's Unstoppable. I'm a butcher that so bad. We got ourselves Ballardo as a balance druid versus Kryzer. Looks like team one has Kryzer. We also got ourselves in the back. We got ourselves Bliv. Looks like fifth got Ender Tasty. We got ourselves Jonas and Bear got X. So we do have a proper 5v5. Gonna be a Ballardo opening up with some dots on Kryzer. Kryzer exchanging the favors. It looks like Ballardo, the dots sitting on him are actually a little bit stronger. It looks like it's gonna be 5 versus 1, right? 5 versus 1. Getting the start citizen and trying to land a cycle. Gonna be an interrupt for Kryzer with that pet sacrifice. Sacrifices the felt puppy so he can get the interrupt whenever he needs it. Gonna be regrowth for Ballardo to try to recover from the damage. Should be able to deal with at least the agonies as well as other curses. Big damage available for Ballardo, trying to go into big combo experience. Looks like he's hitting some of the enemy team on team one with lots of reflex abilities. They're hitting Ballardo back. It looks like the dots might just melt him. I think the pot comes out, got the thorns available, and Kryzer should be able to blast through the pot if possible. The reflect into convoke is just a perfect strategy for Kryzer. And looks like he does end up taking down Ballardo. Super unfortunate when you're a druid, you don't get the proper CC chain. You need to get a bash onto Kryzer, stop in the reflect, go for convoke. I feel like you have to, because otherwise the Warlock is just going to pop reflect and just be like, okay, dude, you did it to yourself. Because then you have to stop convoke. It's actually so troll. It looks like Unstoppable is going to be up next. Or Unspoffable. Yo, my man, I'm going to get your name right at some point, right? I'm going to do my best. As he gets some dots into Kryzer, Fire Elemental burning some damage into Kryzer too. Mortal Coil, as Kryzer is finally able to establish the dots. Lightning Lasso getting triggered out for Kryzer. This is going for trying to get a stun of his own. Stormkeeper available for Unstoppable is going to be a grounding totem for Kryzer to deal with. Didn't reflect available. Unstoppable was able to at least use a grounding totem, wait for Kryzer to deal with it. Finally, dots are over to Kryzer, but Unstoppable has also some biggie damage as well. And that's going to be the Dark Glare coming out, extending those dots, getting the freebie eye beams onto the Shaman. As Kryzer got himself a huge haze buff, just needs to get somehow line of sight Unstoppable. He did take quite a bit of damage from the Dark Glare as well as the dots. Those things are doing quite a number to him. And as long as he has a slow onto that Dark Glare, that thing should never be able to get around the corner or almost ever. Looks like it disappeared. Cooldown's down for a bit. Kryzer is a bit behind on health, can get himself quite a bit of heals with Drain Life, as well as Immortal Coils, and as long as he's able to get some dots on Unstoppable, he'll be in good spot. He's going to summon a Fell Hunter. Fell Hunter could have interrupted this Lightning Lasso. Why did he do it? Mortal Coil onto Unstoppable with some Drain Life, as Kryzer looking for a bit of a catch-up on health. Unstoppable does kick him on Shadow, which is going to lock out Kryzer for quite a bit. Does get a lockout onto Unstoppable. And there goes the Hex. How did Kryzer catch up on all that health, by the way? I think Warlock's Hellstone came out. Stun Totem is going to be dodged by Kryzer as he got some dots onto the Shaman, as the Shaman kind of moseying over behind the pillar. Does not have the interrupt with the pet. That's going to be freebie Flame Shock for Unstoppable. Having the pet, having the Warlock, 2 Flame Shocks rolling, lots of opportunity for him to get those big lava bursts. And I wonder, Unstoppable has to be playing Necrolord, right? Because I haven't seen him use the Necrolord ability at all, unless that was it there. With a big Lightning Lasso onto Kryzer, does his trick, actually interrupts it. No trick it needed. Is able to get the dots up and running Unstoppable. He's locked out on nature. Can't even interrupt Kryzer for the time being. While is available, Stormkeeper should do quite a bit of biggie damage. Is going to get their Earth Elemental as he rushes in to stun Kryzer. But Unstoppable will mostly use them for the defensive. Use that Earth Elemental defensive immediately. And maybe use that a little too early because he was able to catch up quite a bit of heals. This Kryzer did peel back, so no longer do you have that defensive. So for Kryzer, that's one more thing that might be good in his favor. Super unfortunate that Kryzer is playing the Grimoire of Sacrifice because he's losing on quite a lot of damage onto Unstoppable. Normally the dots give those Grimoire damage onto Unstoppable, which is quite a lot of his damage, but now he has to go for the Fell Hunter, which is nowhere near the same amount of damage. Unstoppable does go for a Fire Elemental, but that's going to get banished out. Kryzer getting hit with a stun. The Shaman kind of lowers on health. Mortal Coil catches him. Rapture spam comes out. There goes a small Maldraxxus shield from the slime. And Kryzer still has more Rapture to spam. Might just have him here with a big drain life. And the Shaman does go down. Getting locked out. Not a lot he can really do. Just back-to-back CC chains. And Divas is going to be up next as an enhancement shaman. Does Kaiser go for a pet sack? Hopefully he does, because he might need it here. Maybe actually he might need a different pet. He might need the blueberry for defensive. Divas goes in for the interrupt on nature, allowing Kaiser the cast of Shadow. That is a massive advantage for Warlocks. If you're a Warlock right now, and you're playing the Night Fae, it's a nature cast. You can actually bait out kicks. Big harvest coming down for Divas. He just harvested crops right here. Harvested health from Kaiser. Kaiser popping in wall. That's going to be a Ghost Wolf as it drops down grounding, dodging away from the Mortal Coil, and looks like he's going to back out of there. Use a lot of pretty big cooldown just now, but it still has plenty left. You got Bloodlust, you got yourself the Ghost Wolves, you got yourself Ascendant, so it's still a lot of CDs available versus Kaiser. Kaiser swapping out for the blueberry, knows he can't really do much against it. This is going to be a stone totem around the corner, should still be able to get a pet sacrifice either way while the blueberry is up, and that's going to give him that massive health increase if he needs to. Basically like a mini rallying cry for him. With a pet coming out, Dogler joined the fight as more dots are popping up on Divas with Shadow Fury as he does get the Ghost Wolves rolling. There's going to be a lot of Maelstrom available for Divas, so lots of healing. Got himself a big Bloodlust ready, big damage coming out onto Kaiser, taking lots of hits. Port is available, but Divas is not super far from him. Mortal Coil runs in that direction, Fear to follow, does get the interrupt onto that Fear, didn't need to tremor it on nothing. Maybe he might need to tremor it here. Looks like he decided grounding instead, sundering onto Kaiser, and is going to get himself a shield refresh. I think at this point Divas does need the harvest. If he can get himself a big old harvest, big heal for himself, big damage onto Kaiser would be enough to finish up. Kaiser going for a long gateway super far away, makes a big break for it, and actually is going to recover quite a lot of health with that drain life. I think he has himself the inevitable doom, or inevitable whatever. The talent that became what was originally a Azurite trait. But he has that one from Agony, I believe. That should give him massive heals. Ground Storm coming out for Divas. It reflect onto that Hex. Kaiser setting up more dots with more fears. Divas did hit tremor it. Did not tremor it. But the fear didn't last long. Kaiser getting locked out on Shadow. Does at least have the dot up to put up on the Divas. Trying to make the damage happen. Does Divas have himself the harvest? This could be bad for him. I think it's over. Does go for a massive heal. If he has the harvest, he basically will be able to swap health right now. Is going to go for massive heals with the healing surges with Maelstrom. Has plenty of mana still to work with here as we are at that 7-minute mark. 15% damp, but a big Bloodlust ready for the Shaman. Can Kaiser do much about it? Is going to be Fury into Divas. Trinkets out of it. Big harvest under Kaiser. Super low on health. Does get himself a small Hellstone available. It is going to give him just a little bit of health. Is that going to be enough? The Fear trying to come out, missing it. Going to be reflective of for Kaiser. And should be able to get a little bit of a drain life onto Divas, but not too much. And Divas no longer has his big harvest. Ghost Wolves are coming out. Ascendants are available. If he ever needs this a little bit extra burst, is going to take a sweet time. Recover some health away from Kaiser for now. We are at the 8-minute, 90% dampener, boys. It's going to get harder and harder for Divas here, but it's also going to get harder for Kaiser since he doesn't really have a lot of ways to just heal. The Shaman might be his opportunity right now to go for a setup. Big Sunder onto Kaiser. Just to get the Ghost Wolves rolling, try to get an interrupt. That Fear is not going to go through. It does have the Tremor if he needs it. It doesn't put up Tremor. Fear right next to Kaiser. He doesn't get to go far away at all. But looks like Kaiser set up yet another Fear. Tremor, my man. You sometimes just have to. And there goes that interrupt for Divas. He still needs plenty of health. Ghost Wolves or Ghost Raptors are going to give him a lot of Maelstrom. Getting that slow onto Kaiser. Kaiser does still have a lot of mobility. Just try to avoid the Shaman as best as possible. The Wolves are doing quite a bit of damage to him, though. But the self heals of a Warlock, the passive self heal with the Fell Armor, I believe, the talent of Fell Armor, is just a massive amount of self healing over time. Especially in those when you can just kite somebody when you're just not under constant 24/7 pressure. It's gonna get the big pad up and running. Big damage out of Divas though. Both of them are super low. Massive heal for Divas. And Kaiser is super low in health. Gets the stun on Divas. UA is coming up. And does he have a big setup? Intro Soul Rod does get himself a big heal at the last second as he drops super low. Big gateway away from the Shaman. Does he have a Mortal Coil to follow maybe? Divas has plenty of damage already. He needs a little bit more Fear trying to come up for Kaiser. Divas does take him out. Not a lot of Maelstrom left, and 30% damage on him is going to make it harder for him to catch up on health. Especially as he's going up against Obliv, the triple shield. It's going to be a lot to burn through. You got to either burn through it or purge through it. That's going to be rough. It looks like Obliv is at least giving a bit of an auto duel, letting Divas catch up on health. Divas better drop down the healing stream totem if he doesn't have one. And maybe Obliv will give him a full reset there. That's going to be in the 10 minutes mark, man. With a Fire Mage, D.Va's better have a perfect placement of the grounding totem. That's the only thing that's really going to help him. Nova and Obliv has a lot of shields. As D.Va's go for the big purges. Big combustion available. Trying to go up and down totem, but there's just so many buffs to burn through. And D.Va's does go down. Burns out. With I think it's the Saint Doll versus Obliv. Is going to go for an honor duel with Obliv as well. Playing exactly the same legendary. Triple shields. And I think what D.Va was trying to do is he decided, you know what, I'm gonna drop down grounding and I need to do something with this mage. Actually, I wonder if maybe dropping down grounding and going for a hex might have been the play. Hex the mage, maybe, no, you actually wouldn't get a trinket. I guess you would get the ice block out of him, right? If maybe he doesn't get the grounding and then interrupt him. Because he fire blasts the grounding, that he'll be in a good spot still. But I think that's when you're just so low on health, you get knocked out. Big Kyrian setup coming out, Meteor, big combustion, like purging. I think is what he's trying to do, is just try to see if he can maybe purge some of the buffs. But with all those shields overlap and protecting the combustion, it's so difficult to stop it. Obliv is going to go for the Kyrian setup onto Insane Doll. Meteor is going to be coming out. Why his interrupted blanket out of the Meteor, double blanket. That's going to be also another port out of the Night Fae. Still Pyro's blast, fire blast coming out for Obliv. Just keeps Insane Doll burning just a little bit longer every time he has line of sight of the guy. Breath into Obliv. Doesn't say no, trying to get a palm, just cannot do it. Obliv actually changed it up. He's playing normal trinket, not relentless this time. Okay, interesting. I guess it would have been actually a better setup against the shaman, because then you could trinket something. But normally relentless is the go-to. But I guess there's not a lot of stuns on the other enemy team, right? Obliv, shaman, warlock. No, maybe, yeah, there's not a lot of stuns, so there's other CC. Insane Doll super low. Is that going to be... Oh, no. Cauterize comes out. Does have alter time. Might be able to get himself some health back. It does go for a big alter time, but I think it gave him a lot of healing. I think it's only... I think with the dampening does interrupt the healing of alter time. Big Meteor setting up for Obliv. Insane Doll does check it out, but Combust is ready for Obliv. Oh, was it ready? It looked like it was Combust for a second. Alter time for Obliv. I think he might just have him. Insane Doll does Ice Block. Does not run the conduit, where Ice Block gives him health all the time. So he's not really going to be able to do much there. Does get a breath to Obliv, but not a lot really left there. And Obliv trying to see if he can fireball. Actually, Radiant sparking through the seed. There's no way he loses to the seed at this point. There's just no way. Because last time Obliv tried this... Oh no, Obliv was playing Relentless. I was looking at the other mage with a trinket. Never mind. Never mind, boys. Forget what I said. Putz is going to be the Marksman Hunter up next. Might go for a Binding Shot onto Obliv with arrow on the side. Standing next to him is going to hit with a Freezing Trap. Double tap ready. Is going to go for a Sniper Shot. Interesting. And Obliv is going to take the damage of Sniper Shot to the face. Night Fae playstyle for Putz. Should he get the aim? I don't know if he's going to be able to do much here. He's going to get himself to rather the finish. This is the defensive rapid fire around the corner onto Obliv. It is getting kind of low. It's just a double slime spitting onto Obliv. And Obliv chooses to go for an Ice Block. Unless he does have the Ice Block that does give him health. Now, the Ice Block in this expansion, this early, is not going to give you the most amount of health. But it's quite a bit of health recovery. Although in higher ranks of it, though, big damage to the Putz. And I think the man is just done. Does he have any dots on him? What? Turtle Shell is still up on him. He didn't look like a turtle. Oh no, Putz. If he can somehow recover. No, there's just no way. Not against Obliv. He just needs one Fire Blast and it's over, man. Yo, Kryza did a lot of damage there, by the way. That was a long duel against the Shaman. Long duel. That's the one thing I noticed. For Kryza, this is the one class that actually gives him a little bit of a hard time.